Let's go ahead and get started. Welcome everyone to Real Estate Millionaires. If you're on this call, you have a desire to be in the real estate game. And so I'm your leader for today, Mr. Ray. I run Mr. Ray's Real Estate, and I'm also responsible for creating minority real estate millionaires. That's what I'm in the business of. So if you're on this call, whether you're a minority or not, doesn't really matter. My focus is on minorities, but I'm saying come one, come all. Everybody's available for this. So today we're going to be looking at, I've gotten a lot of questions about, Ray, how do you figure your ARV? So I'm going to be doing figuring our ARV on this property. This is a property that I own, 2517 Southwest 64th here in Oklahoma City. So I'm going to show you how we would go about creating the ARV for this property. So just so you guys know, this is my prayer every day. I mean, I think this prayer of Jabez, it came out, a few years ago and everybody was on it. They was all getting in it. But since the day that I saw this prayer, I have not stopped praying it. And it's simply a prayer to God that says he just wants to be blessed and blessed indeed. And the part that I really love about it is that he's asking God to enlarge his territory. And that's what I'm about. I want the Lord to enlarge my territory, keep his hand on me, keep me from evil, that I might not cause pain. That is my prayer, and I hope that's your prayer too, because we're all about expanding our territory. So currently we're in a book series. The current book that I have out there is Unshakable Character. You're not going to make it in this game unless you got character, right? You can't be a crook in this game. You can't be a type that wants to take advantage of people. You got to have integrity. You got to have courage. You got to be able to do things the right way in this business. There's a wrong way to do it. I can tell you, there'll be shortcuts that you'll have an opportunity to take. But when you got an unshakable character, you're always going to do the right thing, and you're always going to be blessed for doing the right thing. So that's our series that we're in today. I usually give the team about a week to get through this. It is an audio book. I know my sister gave me feedback, man, he's really boring. Yeah, I know he's boring, but the message is what you can't miss here. And so as we go through this, when we get done by the end of the week, I'll be asking a few questions just to check to see if everybody was able to get through the book. So it's great that we learn. It's all about learning. That's what we're doing here. Here's one Rayism. So if you don't know what a Rayism is a saying, something that I've heard that I've been around, that I've basically taken it and made it my own. And so this particular one right here speaks to me, because it says that a man who does not read books has no advantage over a man who cannot read them. Makes sense to me, right? If you can read books and you don't, you got no advantage over the man who's illiterate, right? And so if you're not reading, growing, studying, becoming better, that's on you. Right? You ought to be reading, growing. There's two types of people. There's people that are green and growing, and then there's those that's dead and dying. You don't want to be in that second group. And one way that you grow is you gain wisdom through books. That's where I gain all my wisdom. And for the most part, that's where you're going to gain all of your wisdom. So our agenda for today, we're going to be talking about determining after repair value. And so I'm going to be using my property, which right now just happens to be vacant. So I'm going to take you also through what I'm doing to prep this property to get it ready to be rented. It became vacant the middle of this month on the 15th. I'm in the process of going through it, getting it rehab right now. So I'm going to let you guys go along with me as I get this property ready for the next renter. And then we'll have Q&A after that. I do have my alarm set for 7:30, so we got a hard stop there and make sure that we get time to do our Q&A. So after repair value, if you were on the call last week, then we went through this in detail. What an after repair value is, it's basically the value of the property after it's been improved or renovated. It's also sometimes called the appraised value of the property or the market value of the property, right? It's basically what the value of this property is in relationship to all the properties in the neighborhood that are for sale or that have been sold in the last 3 to 6 months. I like to use stuff that's happening over the last 6 months because that gives you a really, really good idea of what the value is. So here are the elements of coming up with a good after repair value. The way that I do it is, again, I use comparable properties that have similar characteristics. When I say similar characteristics, I mean they have the same number of bedrooms, the same number of baths, garage, etc., same square footage. Those properties that have similar characteristics that's in that area is what I'm looking for. So I'm looking for homes that recently sold. I'm looking for homes that are currently on the market, but I also look at the price of the property the last time it was sold. I want to know if it was sold 5 years ago, what did it sell for? So I want to see if it's getting any appreciation. So Mr. Ray, where do you find this data? Well, you can find this data on the web, right? I use Zillow. That's my dominant go-to. Zillow has a nice a place where you can find just about anything you want for these properties. Not only what they're for sale for, what the rent for, I mean, what the taxes are, all that information is there, and I'll go through that and kind of show you where it is. There's a couple of other things too that investors look at. I'm not going to go into detail because I want you to focus on just getting the comparable homes in the area. That's where you should get most of your after repair value at. But we also, as investors, we look at the cap rate and the gross rent multiplier. I'm not going to go into details on those. I'm just going to throw the concept out there. I will do the gross rent multiplier though. So the gross rent multiplier is simply the property price, what you're paying for the property, divided by the gross rent. So in this example here, I'll give you two examples. One is the property is worth $108,000 and it grosses $12,000 a year. That is $1,000 a month. And basically the gross rent multiplier tells you how many years that property will be paid back with the gross income that's coming on the property. So the higher the number, the longer the payback period. If you see, for instance, my other example is a house that I have that I paid $25,000 for. Well, I get $650 a month rent on that, and that means that property, I could pay it back in 3.2 years. So it's just a gauge for me as an investor that's telling me how long it's going to take me for that property to get all my money back, right, on the growth. That's not taking into consideration any expenses, anything like that. It's just a high number. Again, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. Make sure we focus in on the comparables. All right, so here's my property. This is my beauty right here. This is my baby girl. I bought her back in 2015. At the time I purchased her, she was $86,000. It was worth $90,000 at the time. This property right here, when I bought it, only needed $1,000 worth of repair. So it was already in tip-top shape and ready to go. I financed it for 5% for 20 years. I was renting it out for $950 back then. Here were the annual taxes and the insurance on that property back when. And so when I look at the numbers, and the numbers say when I purchased this property, of course, I was getting $950 a month for rent. I had a mortgage on the property. I showed you what that mortgage was for. And then you can see all my other numbers. My net cash flow on that property back then, I was net flowing about $200 a month, which was not bad. That's when I bought it. I told you guys it has to be. Today I've raised my limit from a minimum of $200 cash flow to now I only look at properties that's $300 a month or more in the cash flow. And but when you first starting out, 200 is still a good spread. But look at what this property is doing for me today. This is why I call this one of my premier properties, because I am now going to be leasing this property for $1,000 a month. And you say, well, Ray, where's the mortgage payment? It's paid off. Well, Ray, where's the vacancy rate and the maintenance? I have a fund that I have $20,000 in that takes care of all the maintenance and the vacancies for all of my properties. So therefore, on a monthly basis, I don't need to deduct that. So I am basically cash flowing this property at over $800 a month, right? $9,000 annually. That is a nice property. And these numbers are numbers that you want to fall in love with. So this is one of my nice properties here. I love this property. I take care of her, and guess what? She takes care of me. So let's go figure the value of 2517 Southwest 64. Let me take you guys over here. Let's see. Hold on just a second, boys and girls, right here. All right, so here's my property. They still with me, Johnny? We still looking good on the screen, or can you see?
No.
Hold on.
You're not sharing. You still got the Let's Go Bigger, the value of Southwest 64.
How about now?
Yes, you're good.
All right, so at Zillow, for you guys that don't know, it's just Zillow.com. So here's the property right here. I am the owner of the property, so I'm in. If you go to the public view here, this is what the property will look like when you go there. So you guys can go out there and look at it. It's got all the pictures here. Now Zillow estimates this property, says it's worth $110,000. Right? If you look down here, Zillow's got some nice stuff here. But if you look, it'll show you nearby similar sales that have happened. So here's some properties here. You can kind of look at these and get a good idea for what the properties in the area are selling for. So Zillow estimates this property is worth $110, and I believe that's a good estimate. Let's see. Here's Trulia. Trulia estimates the property is worth $108,000. And then it also has some similar sales that's out there nearby. If you look at Redfin, Redfin has the property at, let's see, between 109 and 120. Actually, it's estimating it to be about 113. So I can feel pretty good about this property when I go to look at Zillow and say, I think that $110,000 estimate is a good estimate for this property. So I'm gonna stop right there and see if there's any questions so far.
Hey, Ray. This is Josh Haney. Man, whenever you're looking at houses that are comparable,
Yes.
And the prices of those other houses, are you wanting to, I'm not sure exactly how to form my question, but are you, say you got a house for 110, what would be the range of the price that you'd want to, be looking at a house? So I've heard like you don't want to get a house that's, houses in the neighborhood are like at 80,000 and you're like at 200,000. You want to buy a house like that. Do you get what I'm saying? Is that, you understand my question? So like what would be like the a good purchase of a house and comparable to other purchases or other houses in that neighborhood? Does that make sense?
A little bit. For me, we try to be more wholesale. We don't buy property at market value. I don't think any money can be made in market value. So we're looking at properties that we can come in at least 20% under what the market value is. Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
Okay.
Thanks for that.
All right. Let's see. So the other thing I wanted to show you was at the Oklahoma County. Now, everybody, some of you guys are out of town, and let's see, make sure this is their share. Some of you guys are out of town, but in Oklahoma, we have the Oklahoma County Assessor has a web page, and it's right here. See that? Oklahoma Assessors at Oklahoma County. I will type this in the chat. So this is where we go to find the county assessor has information. So when you get to this site, you basically, it looks like this. And so you would just type in the physical address. I'm gonna type in the address, 2517 Southwest 64th. And you can see Juice Properties owns this property, that's me. And here is what you'll see. You'll see here it's got the address, the owner, also has a little picture here. Which, well, here also you get to see some of the comp sales again in that area. You look, you have the date of the sale and the amount of the sale. It gives you the address. If you click on the address, it'll actually bring that property up. So now you get to see, here's a property that's close to my property. And yeah, so then you can, again, you just compare, just kind of looking to make sure you're in the ballpark. But some other things about the Oklahoma County, it'll tell you what the land value is. It'll tell you what the taxes are on this property. So I'm looking at 2019, the taxes that I paid on this property last year was $1,179. Again, good information. And it also will show the taxes for the previous years. If you look here all the way back to 2011, if I click on it, I'll see initially I had it in my name, then I changed it to my LLC in 2019. Good other information here, you can see when I purchased the property. So back here, this is where I bought it, September 9th, 2015 for $86,000, and that's who I bought it from. Here, I changed it from my name to my LLC. The county now shows the value of this property is $97,000. If you know anything about the county, they normally will have a low market value. But again, it's a good place to look to see what the county is saying the value is. If you look over here, every year, the county has a value also. And this value started in 2016 at $86,000. County says now it's worth $97,000. But we know, based on what we just look at, the property is probably worth at least, I'm going to say today that property is worth at least $110,000. I can take that to the bank and say, hey, bank, if I wanted to get a loan on this, get 80% of the property value right out of there. See anything else here? Anybody got any questions about the county site?
I have a question.
Yes.
At what point would you consider me taking these homes out of my personal name and making sure I get them put in the LLC?
I say once somebody gets around 5 properties, you ought to look at the LLC, because basically the LLC is just going to protect you from a liability standpoint. If somebody sues you, they can't come after your personal stuff. If you got an LLC, then they can only come after the LLC.
Okay, so is the purpose of the county assessor's site mainly just to check your numbers that you're finding on Zillow and Redfin and stuff like that? Like
Well,
just
yeah, I use the county to find out who owns the property, what they paid for it, what taxes is on it. All that information is there on the county. So I don't use the county so much for my ARV, you know, figuring out what the appraised value is. I use the county. I mean, they'll have some information there for me, but for the most part, I'm using Zillow, I'm using Tulia, Redfin for the property. Here, I want to find out the details of the property, right? So that's where I find, that's where the county really helps me and comes in and helps me. If you click down here at the bottom, it'll actually show you that, you see it was built in 1959, and you see the square footage there, right? So that's good information, know when it was built, and also you know, what the county says is the square footage on it. All right, any other questions? All right, so let me go here. Let's do a quick walkthrough on the property. I went by the property the other day and I did a walkthrough, so I'm gonna share with you guys the walkthrough. So this is my first time at the property. I'm kind of walking you through it. Oh, there's no sound here. I'm sorry. So let me talk through this then. I'm sorry. Basically, it looks like this property is basically gonna need more cosmetic, right? As I'm walking through it, I'm looking at the let's see, you know, basically blinds are messed up. The carpet looks like it's a little bit soft. I got a carpet cleaner. I'll probably try to clean it first. If it doesn't come clean, I'll probably go ahead and replace that carpet. In the bathroom here, I'll just change the fixtures, and that'll probably be it in the bathroom. This room, somebody painted my house pink. I got pink walls, man. You tell, look at that. Just caked on there. That means they never cleaned those fans. But this property, again, it's a 3-bed, 2-bath, 1.5 bath. And it's a great property in a nice neighborhood. Again, mostly cosmetic work, taking the nails out, plastering, nothing real serious here. So that's the half bath right there. Kids was coloring on the walls a little bit. They will do that, right? You will have people that will color on your walls for some reason. And so I'm estimating the cost of repair on this property, I'm estimating around $3,000. That means I can get it painted. I might have to change the carpet, put in mini blinds, keep the yard kept up, but other than that, it's going to be pretty much ready to go. So let's go back here. All right, so we got any questions on that? So I'm gonna keep you guys posted on that as I go through that. I got a painter coming by next week and get it painted. Then we're gonna change out all the ceiling fans. I did notice that I need to put in probably some face plates on all the electrical stuff. But other than that, I'm expecting to get in and out of that for $3,000. Take me about a week. So,
Mr. Ray?
Yes.
I have a question. Do you have like a cheat sheet of repair costs? Because I know you would like for us to play around with numbers, but I want to have like a realistic, repair costs, because I have no earthly idea how much an interior or exterior painter costs, things like that.
All right, stay tuned. I'll have a lesson on that, right?
I should have
You got some
known.
idea what it costs, and I'll do it on a square footage basis. Normally, what it costs me to paint a house per square foot, what I pay for some materials like ceiling fans and things like that. All right, so I'm down to 10 minutes now. It's Q&A. We got 10 more minutes before they're gonna cut us off. But what other questions you guys got?
So as far as checking like the plumbing or doing or checking just your going through seeing how good the property is structurally and all of that, what do you go through with as far as that is concerned?
Okay, that's a good question because I want to make sure that the toilets are flushing correctly. I want to make sure all the water in the bathrooms and the kitchen, that it's working properly. I'm checking to make sure there's no leaks. I'm checking the heat and air system, make sure it's functioning properly, and those type things. So those are the things that I'll be looking for from a functional standpoint. Make sure the property is functional. Remember, I've said before, when you offer real estate to people, you got to make sure that it's safe, and it's reliable, that it's going to be functional, and that you providing a good place for people. So you don't want to be in the slumlord business. You got to be willing to pay the money to keep the property up to par so you can attract quality tenants.
I have another question.
Yes.
Just like when you did your walkthrough there, do you do a walkthrough with your tenant that just left so we can determine on our security deposit? How does all that work?
All right, so this guy just normally, if they leave it in this condition right here, they don't expect don't expect anything back, right? He lost his $950 deposit. He knew that, so he was good. So normally on a tenant, I will do a walkthrough, but this particular guy, he didn't want to, so he knew he wasn't going to get his deposit, but he left it in decent shape. I mean, I'm not mad. He left a few things around, but there was no real damage there. But I have a walkthrough document when I first lease it to a tenant. We walk through and we look at everything, and they check off and make sure. And we go to every room, and if there's something broke, something cracked, need painting, we note that, and we both sign that document and say this was the condition of the property when you moved in. I expect it to be like that when we move out. So I'll bring that same document back with me when he's getting ready to move out, and we'll go through it. And if there's any other damage, then they're responsible for that.
Okay, I just wanted to, okay, so one day you'll share that with us.
Yes. Well, I'll share it with, if anybody wants that document, you just send me a text or an email, and I'll send that to you, because that's just a document that I have in my repertoire, and that's the benefits that you guys get from being with me. I got rental agreements. Everything that I have is available for you guys. So if there's any document that I have in my possession that I use, I'm willing to share that with you. So all you got to do is ask for it. You got it.
So I have a question, Ray. When you, so this guy doesn't expect his deposit, any of his deposit back, but do you send him or anybody like an itemized, you're only going to get $600 of your deposit back because I had to do this. Do you send that to someone, or how do you handle that?
Yes, I do. I actually will, that document that I told you I created when they moved in, at the end of it, I'll go back and I'll mark things. This is how much it's going to cost me to paint. This is how much it's going to cost me, to get that trash that you left there, to have it removed. All that information, I'll itemize it, and then I'll share that with them. And this is why you won't be getting your deposit back.
Do you have to have that document notarized, or is it just?
No, as long as they signed it and I signed it, it's good enough.
Okay.
What about if they've done some sort of more than normal damage to the house? Do you try to collect that money from them?
I
They
do.
like,
Yes, I
okay.
do. If I
Talk
if
about
they-
that a little bit.
Yeah, if I had significant damage to this property, then I would again itemize that, and if it's enough, I'll take them to small claims court and try to get it. You know, a lot of times, if a tenant they skip on you and they'll leave, you know, stuff everywhere, and I don't fool with it. I'll just take their deposit and go on. But if it's significant damage, I've not had significant damage yet where I've had to do that. But if there was significant damage to the property, I would definitely look at trying to file small claims.
So also you said that they painted the wall. Do you not go into your properties every 3 months and examine it so
I
that
do
you would have
not.
known?
I do an annual inspection. Yes, I do an annual inspection. So every 3 months, I got 20 properties. I'll be running crazy trying to inspect all those. So I do try to, in fact, I only inspect the properties that, like I got some tenants been with me 10 years. I haven't been in the property for 10 years, right? Because when I drive by that property, it looks like an oasis. They got flowers planted, the yard is well kept, so I know what the inside looks like. So I don't have any issue with tenants that's been with me a long time. It's the short-term tenants that I check up on that have been with me for 5 years or less.
As far as changing it out, the properties out of your name to your LLC, how did you go about doing that?
That's pretty simple to do. I have a document that I can share with you. In Oklahoma, again, it's pretty easy to do that. You can use an attorney to do it, but you can also go down to the county and just file this document. And it's basically, it's just like when you buy a new home, the document goes into a new name. So I'm missing the name of the document. I can't even think of what it is. Johnny, you might. Quit claim. There you go. Thank you. Just file a quit claim, and there you go. Thank you, Roxanne.
Do you have your email address or?
Yeah, I'll type it right here.
Okay.
Mr. Ray's Real Estate at Gmail. Did I spell that right? Nope, don't look at that one. I misspelled that one. Or did Mr. Ray's? I hate this computer. All right, that's it.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. I sent it to
I don't
Lila.
see it. I'm like, we don't
Thanks,
see it.
Lila. And this is the guy that's telling me how to do real estate, really? This guy can barely type. All right, that should be it. Mr. Ray's Real Estate at Gmail. Also, you guys go out to my YouTube. I'll be posting this one on the YouTube also. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel, make sure you get out there and do that. I still haven't got any feedback on my spreadsheet challenge. I guess ain't nobody out there up to the challenge to come up with that. So you got till Wednesday to bring it on. See what you got. Got $50 bogey out there. Whoever comes up with the best spreadsheet. All righty, looks like we winding down. Let me go back to my presentation. I got a couple more slides here I want to get to.